children of Israel found the promised land, complete with milk and honey and a view. To get to this place, it took quite a little time. Well, it took 40 years to be exact. But a leader like Joshua could get his people there, even though a map and compass he lacked. The day finally came, the moment arrived, when the river Jordan was in view. Joshua and company were on the east side in a quandary as to what to do. You see, across the water, just down the road, was the promised land we know. But there was just a little problem, a tiny obstacle. It was a city called Jericho. A classic example of a monumental edifice of logistical impregnability. It was... Well, you get the picture. The human odds were not on Israel's side, but they crossed the river Jordan nonetheless. For Joshua knew, and his people did too, if God was with them, they could win with less. So they reached dry land and got organized, but when they saw what they saw, they felt glum. For they discovered when they reached the walls of Jericho, the city was locked up tighter than a drum. Yeah, guys, that was more of a figure of speech, a simile, an analogy, you know. Well, anyway, a plan was devised as to how the attack would be made. With those thousands, it was quite a parade. Where was I now? Oh yes, the seventh day, the day that Jericho would come to an end. The Israelites assembled with their thousands to fight. It was almost too much to comprehend. Imagine, if you will, the 7 priests in the front with their trumpets all ready to blow. Then the Ark of the Covenant and thousands of men just waiting for Josh to say, go! Different twist, so that no one from the city would escape. The army had to march around 7 times. Josh hoped by now they'd all be in shape.
7 times?
That's right, 7 times. Came around the 7th time, the fateful moment was finally at hand. Joshua called his thousands to halt and gave the cue to strike up the band. I could probably use a little bit of practice, guys. trumpets to blow and the people to shout. Now by this time some strange things were happening. The ground around the city began to shake. The citizens of Jericho were also pretty shook as their walls began to crumble and break. Now the rumble reached 10 on the Richter scale as those quakes of tremors hit that town. Even Josh was amazed and his people were dazed when the walls came a-tumbling down. Well, as I said before, this saga is more than just a story from a long time ago. For it teaches us that God keeps his promises, as anyone who reads this book will know. So don't ignore this thought or push this lesson aside, for to do so, one would be a fool. Just remember it was God who